Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Absolute Rain podcast. Today, I'll be your host, Accuracy, and I am with Icyy as my co-host. And today, we'll be talking about Call of Duty and the upcoming CWL League. And so, the first topic up for discussion will be ranked play coming in December of 2018. So, Icyy, you start us off with your thoughts of the ranked play and how you think it should play out.
Well, with everything, ranked play should obviously be somewhat like the competitive playlist or play set, as you will, the rule set. It should play out not necessarily like the Pro League, but I really do feel like it should have some sort of relative game style of it, I guess you could say. Like, not necessarily like an actual like CWL match, obviously. Like, there should be, some sort of I guess chill moment to it, but it should be a fun and very engaging, like a game battles or a UMG. It should have that competitive aspect to it, though. I would like to see that competitive aspect be brought into Call of Duty because, the competitive scene is kind of not necessarily dying off, but it's not. It was represented very well. Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, they hyped up not World War II. They hyped up the rank play. I would like to see that brought out again in Black Ops 4, that they start to bring out the competitive playlist and the playset, and they start bringing out rank play so they could bring in more viewership and bring more attention to the Pro League.
So with this Pro Series, they say that it'll have the same rules as the CWL with the same maps and the same bands and everything like that. So overall, do you think that it will cause an issue, the fact that there's these gentleman agreements that won't be the same as the rule sets with so many with such accessibility for a smaller team like Absolute Rain to be able to play through and eventually get to the CWL? They don't necessarily have to agree with these gentlemen's agreements that these big teams have, which could end up giving them an edge, because with this league play, what if it's done similar to what Fortnite's been doing lately, where you play in their skirmishes and that buys you quote unquote a ticket into their summer skirmish, which is their big event. So if this league play Pro Series stuff is that golden ticket, so to speak, what do you think will happen if all these teams aren't agreeing to this thing and it's giving them an edge?
Well, you see, with a gentleman's agreement, it's mostly mutual respect for one team and another. One thing that I do agree on is anything that's broken that is still on, that is still what is it called? That is still allowed. I don't want it to be played with, obviously. See, in World War II, I can go back to it. In World War II, the FG-42 was gentleman's agreement because it was such a broken gun, but it was still allowed and competitive. Because of the mutual respect that teams had for each other, they did not use it. I think since, there are so many smaller teams that are a part of the Call of Duty community, that those gentlemen's agreement will virtually be non-existent, because you can hop on a game battles and something that's GA'd in CWL what can be used in game battles, and it doesn't even matter. They don't even care. They'll take it out whenever they want. So I just don't feel like it'll be viable, because of it. Rank play won't only be tailored towards competitive players. It'll be tailored towards the whole community as a whole. I don't think a GA should even be remotely supported in rank play, because it is a Pro Series and it is supposed to represent CWL, but I don't think GAs will be respected in the rank play. I don't think there should be any GAs in rank play.
Okay, so basically, so how what was it? Was it the grappler that they were talking about? Was it
the
GA?
The grappler is GA'd. The grappler is currently GA'd. I don't think it'll be GA'd in rank play, just because of the fact that there are so many smaller teams that do not care and do not respect each other.
So won't that kind of mess up the whole vibe that the current big teams have, because so many of them are so used to not playing with it because that's all they're doing is playing against each other. But all these smaller teams, they don't care about all that.
It will.
And so if they're using it, yeah, they will be using it. And then now these other bigger teams have to reaccustom to using it. So do you think the GA and the Pro Series and all that is going to mess up or shake up some of these bigger teams and actually make it an easier year for some of the smaller teams?
That's a good question. Honestly, these big teams have been dominating the pro circuit for so long that I don't think smaller teams really have respect for them anymore. I don't think that they will use the GAs when they do. Well, see, now I go back on myself. There comes a time and a place to use a GA, and there's a time and a place where you don't use a GA. See, if you don't like the pro team you're playing against, or you don't like the people you're playing against, you don't respect them, you don't mutually agree with what they agree with, so you're going to go against the GA, obviously. I think what it comes down to, it will mess up. It will mess up the playstyle. It will mess up the vibe of what's going on. It will mess up all of that. It will mess up the behind the scenes when the players finish playing and how they communicate with each other, obviously. But I think what it comes down to with the gentleman's agreement is the mutual respect and the toxicity in the community. See, if you're playing against a non-toxic team, they're gonna have all the GAs. They're gonna say GG after. They're gonna say good luck before. They're gonna have that GA. It's gonna play like an actual CWL game. If you're playing against a very toxic team that you know is toxic and is known in the community, I think that you will go into the game knowing that there are no GAs, no holds barred, just go all out. I think certain games will be played out with the GA and certain games will not be played out with the GA. I think certain teams will know when to use it and when not to use it.
Okay, because that was something that like I'm fairly new to, like, as far as Call of Duty competitive goes. I was always wanting to get into it, but because of lack of having that team, I never paid a whole lot of attention to Call of Duty players. And so this year was the first time I'd ever heard of a GA. Mm-hmm. And my personal opinion on it is I get it. It's broken, so the teams agree not to use it, but I think it's honestly one of the dumbest trends, I guess, amongst pro teams is to have agreements to not be good at using these things against each other, because that's just hurting themselves in the long run, because they're not adapt to playing against good players with these things that aren't going to be banned. Because if I'm not mistaken, did they already release the full CWL rule set? Like, it's set in stone.
They do have the rule set. They do have the CWL rule set. They have the bans and unbans. The thing that I agree with you on is if somebody's really good with a gun, I don't think they should be restricted just because of a GA. Because the GA is actually fairly new. I think it started in World War II, because I don't recall the GA before World War II. And I've broken a GA myself. I've said this and I've repeated it to my teammates. I'm trying to win. I do not care about a GA. I do not care about the respect for a team until after the game. When we're in the game, I am playing for money. I am playing for that reputation. I do not care who you are. I don't care if you were my role model growing up. I am playing to win. I have broken, I'm going to be honest with you, I have broken several GAs actually, and I have said, fuck that. I'm not going to be confined to one certain playstyle. I have said that, and I have done it, and I have broken it. I do agree if a certain player is very, very well with a certain gun or a certain ability, that they shouldn't be confined just because of a GA. You know, it is still competition, and you are still trying to prove who's better than the other. I think when it comes down to it, a GA is for mutual respect. If you do not respect the other team, then you don't use a GA. That's how I view it. That's
okay.
That's what I've
with all that being said, one thing I failed to do at the beginning of this is like, what is your background as far as Call of Duty goes? Just so everybody knows, I have very little. I played a little bit of game battles for Call of Duty 4's remastered version, and I tried to follow it more so this past year than I guess I have in the last few years, because I took quite a while off from playing Call of Duty as a whole. So what's your background? What gives you this further insight on these topics we will be discussing today?
Well, for one, I have been playing Call of Duty since Call of Duty 2 on the PlayStation 2. I was 5 years old when I first picked up the controller and started playing Call of Duty, and ever since then I've fallen in love with it. I started playing competitive Call of Duty in Black Ops 2. I was 12 years old. I was running up GBs. Well, actually, I wasn't 12. I was 11. I was 11 years old at the time, and I was running up GBs, playing with friends, and I started becoming more and more interested in Call of Duty. I remember how I was introduced to it. I was watching a Minecraft series by Syndicate Project, and he made a series called Hunting Optic, and I was like, who are these guys? Who's Optic? And I looked them up, and they were playing Call of Duty for money. They were playing a video game for money. You should just imagine a 12-year-old finds out that they're able to play a video game for money. I was absolutely ecstatic. I was like, "Oh my god. My dream has finally come true. I could do what I love and make money. I could play video games for money." So, when obviously after all that came out and I realized that it wouldn't be as easy, I started practicing, and I've played in several tournaments for money. I've played several wagers. I've been playing competitive Call of Duty since I was 12 years old, and I'm 17 now. I've been playing for 5 years, been watching Call of Duty for 5 years. I've been studying the game for 5 years. If you really want to get technical with it, I think I have a bachelor's degree in Call of Duty, and I'm on my way to my master's degree. If we really want to get down to the nitty gritty, I'm nearly there for a PhD. So I think I'm well.
So you just skipped over masters, went straight to PhD.
Yeah, straight to PhD. I think I'm more than qualified to be able to talk about the topic.
See, because my starting with Call of Duty, I started about the same age as you, I want to say. But that being said, I'm older than you are.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
So I put in a lot more time, but I also took the 3 years I took off were undoubtedly during some of the worst Call of Duties, because like I played a little bit of Ghost, but I fell out of it. Then I didn't touch Advanced Warfare at all. I played it at a friend's house for about 5 minutes. It was like, yep, I'm not wasting the money on that.
Yeah,
it'll be over before it begins. And thankfully, I was right on that. By the time we got Black Ops 3, I didn't really play it because I didn't know that it was as good as it turned out to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I came back fully during Modern Warfare Remastered. I played a little bit of Infinite Warfare, and again fell out of that. But thankfully, Modern Warfare Remastered was there to hold my hand, keep me into Call of Duty.
It was very beautiful. It was a beautiful game.
And I'm probably one of the few people who will say I thoroughly enjoyed World War II for at least 2 months.
I didn't dislike World War II at all. I enjoyed it.
I loved the sniping. Everything else I could live without, and I got super tired of the game. It got very, very.
It did get boring. They didn't have a lot of maps. They didn't have a lot of game modes. It wasn't. It was something new.
I bought it. I pre-ordered, got it, played it, and for the first 2 months, it was completely broken. I was constantly getting kicked out of lobbies, and played Fortnite for the next 5 months.
I think with World War II, I think our expectations were too high. We were going into thinking it would be a World at War 2.0 or something.
No. My expectations were entirely met. The sniping was smooth and fluid. I enjoyed the game thoroughly. But when it took well into December before they were even fixing simple problems like that, what was that one map? The trenches. Was it Point Duhawk or whatever? What was that?
That is Point Duhawk, yes.
Yeah, and there was that one glitch where you could climb up on the wall and hide in the stone, and nobody could get you. When that
enough pubs for that. Sorry.
What?
I didn't play enough public match for that.
Yeah. No, basically they could sit there and snipe. They could spawn trap you. A single person could spawn trap an entire team by sitting in this one spot. Two people. As long as he had somebody watching the other side of the map, your team was completely immobilized by this one glitch spot.
It's disgusting.
That should not have been in the game, and it was nearly impossible to kill them unless you got all the way onto the other side of the map and shot them in the back, which again, with you being spawn trapped, was nearly impossible. And it was like I got into a match with that. Thought it would be over in a week. Stopped playing it for a week. Came back and he was still there. I said, okay, I'm done. Yeah, I quit playing World War II.
Yeah.
And then thankfully,
I would have done the same.
Thankfully,
Well,
Black Ops 4 has come out and has been good. And I did do a little bit of the ranked play on there, but it wasn't very enjoyable. It was mostly, at that point in time, it was bar head glitches, and that was it. Because it was before the nerf to the bar. And with a game like Fortnite coming up and competing, I got onto it early. And then, that being said, I enjoyed it thoroughly because it wasn't the absolute shit show it is now.
And then it turned into Dookie. Yeah, I was about to say that. Then it turned into Dookie.
Yeah, like it was before December that I was playing it, so it was before Ninja had reached his hierarchy of the ultimate streamer of all time and ESPN Playboy.
Mm-hmm.
But with BO4 coming out, I'm very excited about it. I've thoroughly enjoyed the multiplayer.
I'm very excited for the
Blackout. Blackout is something I'm excited for with it. I want to see how that goes. But to stay on topic, we'll stick to the more competitive side of multiplayer for now.
No, we could, if you want to branch out into Blackout, we can, by all means, we can do that if you'd like. I have no problem. Anything Call of Duty, hit me with it.
What are your thoughts on going into like Blackout? Like what are your thoughts of how that will be played competitively, at least for wagers and tournaments and such things like that?
Jeez, we're going into that, dude. I didn't. Okay, I thought we were just like how Blackout was going to help the Call of Duty community, but okay.
Oh well, yeah. Well, how will it help the COD community overall?
I do think it'll bring a bigger. Bring bigger viewership to Call of Duty. It livens it up. It definitely brings a new aspect to Call of Duty that I was never seen before. Blackout, I believe, has revived Call of Duty in some way. When Blackout had its beta, it was beating Fortnite in viewership. All of the top Fortnite streamers went to Blackout, loved it, absolutely loved it. They enjoyed it.
That was a lot of paid promotion. We'll add that in there, but
people still loved it. They still enjoyed it. You can't take it away. That paid viewership, sure.
Can I put in the fact that it took them? When did Battlefield first put in vehicles that you could drive and fly, and it took how many years for Call of Duty to realize people enjoy that?
But they well, not necessarily perfected it per se, but they put their little twist and take on it. I enjoy it. It obviously brings a different point of view for Call of Duty. It brings a different community and different aspect to Call of Duty. I think it does, with the Battle Royale, how should I say, not necessarily meta, but the Battle Royale, genre, I guess you could say. It caters to those people that do enjoy Battle Royale, like H1Z1, PUBG, Fortnite. It definitely caters to those kind of people.
Because personally, I'm thoroughly enjoying the fact that I can finally say I'm playing a Call of Duty and at the same time be flying a helicopter.
Indeed, the helicopters are fun. They are very fun to fly.
They've had so many Call of Duty games that had vehicles so readily available all over every single map, and yet you can't get into any of them aside from laying down, like on firing range, where you can lay on that one Jeep in the spawn and just kind of like call in all your streaks.
Yeah.
Nice and protected and hidden.
I think the multiplayer maps were just too small for those vehicles. You know what I mean? Like you could call in score streaks and stuff like that if you want to call that a vehicle. I guess you could call in like a chopper gunner.
That's what I'm saying. Like that is what I want in the next stage of Call of Duty. It's like
bigger maps,
like a mash between like the Battle Royale and Call of Duty is to just have a mode. Kind of like they had, what was it called, like war games or something like that, where you could have like massive teams on older Call of Duties, or was it Halo? Which game was it that just did like you?
It's Halo.
Had this they just had this massive team of like 18 people.
It was like 18v18.
Like, yeah, like just
18v18
something
or 9v9.
to like. That's the only other thing I think that they could add to Call of Duty to make it a better game. As of right now, though, I think them adding in this battle royale is that first step to
a greater.
We're no longer this cut and dry same thing every year.
Now we're different. Now we're new.
Yeah. They finally are becoming hip with the young kids again.
But battle royale, obviously, Blackout. I haven't played it a lot, but it's very fun to play with friends. You get your laughs, you get your giggles. It does get, intense when it comes down to the very few people that are left, just like every other battle royale. I enjoy it. It's kind of like PUBG with the attachments, but it's also like every other battle royale where you get to stay alive until the last person or until the last group. I love it. I do enjoy Blackout. I haven't played it enough, but I do enjoy it. When I was... for those of you that don't know, I am currently taking a break. Currently, if you will, a hiatus, if you will. Currently taking a break. Not really, in the mood right now, if you want to say that. Not really feeling the competitive vibes right now.
Lost that spark.
Yeah, lost the spark, but hopefully the spark does come back, obviously. But currently on hiatus, so I should be able to, enjoy Blackout. But I do when I have played it, it was fun, it was enjoyable. The gun balancing seemed to be fine. Every gun seemed to. There are those few guns that are better than the others, like
Paladin.
Usual. Yeah, Paladin, one-shot monster.
The
armor
Paladin
ripper.
is by far the best.
Deleter.
Well, it's the best gun in Blackout or multiplayer. Don't at me.
Don't at me. Yeah, you get mentioned. Just don't at. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it in my timeline. But yeah.
I love how sad. I don't know if you've gotten a full squad wipe yet in Blackout. Have you? Because that was like the first time I actually got a kill in it. Was a full team running out of the storm, and it feels so satisfying because the games prior to that was when I realized how difficult the game was.
It is. It's very tactical.
Yeah, and then I get this full
tactical.
squad wipe because my whole team gets killed aside from me, and they just assume I died to the storm, and I was just sitting there healing up right outside of it, waiting for them to walk out, and then just managed to kill them all because they were hiding behind one of those like gas tank things by Turbine that you can see underneath, like see in the middle of it, so you can still shoot them. Yeah, it was kind of a douchey play. But
it works, dude.
The satisfaction that came from being like, yo, I just managed to wipe that full squad, I have not gotten from a game in a long time. Because for a while there, I just fell out of video games for a while.
I don't think I'd ever fall out from video games. I think video games will always have that special place in my heart, just like music.
I was in high school and doing football and stuff, so my life was preoccupied.
I do sports too. But I think video games and music will always have that special place in my heart. I do love basketball, love football. I watch basketball every day. I'm in a fantasy league. I played football in high school, played basketball all the way up until high school. Fell out of it in high school because I was getting a lot bigger, and it was hard on my knees. So stuck to football, but I still found a way to balance everything, I think when you love something so much, you will find a way to incorporate it into your daily life. Just like music.
I was working, I was playing football, I was working out, and I lost I'd say a solid 30, 40 pounds. Because I wasn't fat, but I was I drank Mountain Dew every day, so I was unhealthy.
Ew.
Yeah, I mean, it was my brother, man. Me and him used to play Halo and drink Mountain Dew and slowly kill our bodies.
I was never accustomed to Mountain Dew. Didn't really like it. Well, I can't say I really liked it, but my parents didn't really buy it. We were more of a Pepsi and Coca-Cola family, so we didn't really get Mountain Dew.
No, trust me, we got our
it's
fair
seltzer
share of
water.
Everything, but
water too.
But Halo's double XP was for Mountain Dew.
Yeah,
so as you could tell, even though I played a lot of Call of Duty, I
Mountain Dew and Doritos, man.
I come from a pretty heavy Halo background.
Yeah, Mountain Dew and Doritos, baby.
But all right, so transitioning more into the esports and such things, with Blackout, You said you haven't played it a whole lot, so you may not know a whole lot about it. So I was heading the Fortnite team, and I can honestly say that for a while I hated the way they ran competitive for Fortnite. I still think they need to add in a ranked formal.
I like rank play.
They need to add in a pro series for Blackout if they ever want Blackout to do what Fortnite's doing, because Fortnite hasn't done that, and that's where they're messing up entirely.
They just got to do something different.
They've started adding in their little
skirmishes and stuff like that. My friends have played in them. Like, you got to get a certain amount of kills to be a part of the leaderboard. You got to get fucking...
Yeah. See, and I think that's the way to go about it, is like how they have rankings in Blackout already. They need to just run it like that. Like, okay, so you now enter into this separate Blackout that's just ranked play, and it's
for other competitors, like other people that are well endowed in Blackout. Like
they're also in this. Players. So if they banned something, the separate Blackout lobby would already have those. It's not a spawnable thing.
Like a competitive playlist, if you will.
Exactly. And so like I think that would just be like really dope if that could become a reality. Now that being said, it probably never will. It's a dream reality. So I don't think Blackout will be super competitive, but I did like what they did with the Doritos Bowl thing. That was a nice little publicity stunt.
What was the Doritos Bowl? Now I'm intrigued.
Oh, did you not see that?
No.
Like it was like Courage and Ninja and all these other big streamers. You know, it was what Fortnite did. They brought in all these big streamers and they played Blackout against each other.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I've seen clips of like people going off on that. Like it was LAN a little bit. It was like a little bit of LAN.
Yeah. Who else was in it?
It was Karma, Courage.
Starts with an S. Big dude who's always been in the scene for. I think he played CS:GO as well, but big streamer who I think he ended up winning it.
Tim the Tap
with his team. Not Tim. Tim the Tap Man was there. But now that I'm trying to think of it, his name is completely blanking. But nonetheless, it was a nice little show that they put on for it.
Like I said, I enjoy it. Blackout's cool. It's its own little thing, its own little separate entity that I think only like Black Ops will have. Maybe if the Modern Warfare title wants to bring in their own little twist on Battle Royale, they will. By all means, they probably will. It is a good way to get money. It is a good way to attract other people. I enjoyed. I think it's cool little thing that they're doing. If they will improve it, by all means, I'll start playing it more. I enjoy it. I like what it's doing for the community. It's bringing more viewership. It's bringing more content. It's definitely brightening up Call of Duty. And hopefully it does revive Call of Duty in a way and bring more viewership to the competitive Call of Duty scene as a whole. I hope it does revive it in some way, in some aspect.
So the last thing around Blackout then would be, do you think it's enough to, because Call of Duty kind of has this tradition, aside from those rare select few like MW2 or Black Ops 2, do you think it has enough brought to the table to last more than a year? Because most Call of Duties die within the same year that or not the same year that they come out, but within the same 12-month period.
Jeez.
I know it's kind of loaded, but it is something that I always think about when I'm like seeing a new Call of Duty title release. I'm like World War II. Like I thought, I was like, oh yeah, I could see that being a classic Call of Duty, but it turned out to be one of the it turned out to be one of the worst Call of Duties ever, and that's a lot being said of.
It is.
There was like they thought jetpacks was going to do the same thing, but now Black Ops 3, like the Black Ops series tends to hold pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, do you think the Blackout with Black Ops is going to outlast the majority of other Call of Duties?
In my opinion, I honestly feel like they are going to continue a Battle Royale game mode all the way up until Battle Royale isn't popular anymore. The only reason why they did do Blackout is so they could compete with Fortnite, so they compete with H1Z1 and PUBG, so they can bring something to the Battle Royale scene. That's my opinion, so they can make money. Will they do it again if it's still popular? What that's the thing. Will Blackout still be popular? If the Battle Royale scene is still popular, Blackout will still survive. If the Battle Royale scene is dying, then Blackout will die. That's how I view it. Because I think if Fortnite's still alive and PUBG's still alive, then Blackout will surely still be alive. Because it is a great, and I'm not saying this because I'm a Call of Duty fan, I'm saying this because I'm a video game purist and I enjoy a good video game and I enjoy having fun. Blackout is very fun. It's very enjoying. Not because it's new, but because it really is a good game mode. Now,
So more or less, you think it'll
if
survive?
the Battle Royale survive, if the Battle Royale genre survives, Blackout will survive.
So okay, so
it all depends on the other
that.
games. It
Okay.
hinges on the Battle Royale genre is how I view it.
Because right now, as it stands, I love the multiplayer, and don't get me wrong, but I already foresee Black Ops 4 being one of those games where I could be like, well, it was
Hit or
good,
miss?
but I'm going to take a break to play this.
See, Black Ops 4, where do I...
whereas MWR, when that dropped, because, again, I played a lot of Call of Duty 4 and all that.
Yeah.
When it came out, I did not put it down until I started playing World War II.
See, for me, it was IW, because obviously competitive scene. And then once they announced that a boots on the ground Call of Duty was being made, I immediately switched to COD 4. Did not hop on IW at all. I'd say I was good 4 months into IW, and then immediately switched to COD 4 and fell in love with it. Personally, my favorite S&D game to play competitively is COD 4. COD 4 will always have a special place in my heart because it opened me up to being a better S&D player, being more involved in the S&D community. Because I always feel like they have a bad rap. If you're an S&D star, you don't have any gun skill. COD 4 opened that door to me to being a better search and destroy player, and it kept me engaged. I liked IW, but definitely loved COD 4 more just because of how much I enjoyed the search and destroy aspect of it.
See, that's how I was. Like,
I couldn't hop off it either.
Yeah, I played a little bit of competitive on it. By a little bit, I mean I played probably like 3 or 4 months, just doing game battles, such things, little tournaments here and there, and it was the only game where I ever got so surprised by the use of a submachine gun, because everybody had similar playstyles except for this one team I played against. For every map we went on, for any way that we played, they were able to counter it using just the AK-74U.
AK-74 was disgusting.
These dudes would two-tap you. It did not matter. Like, we were playing on a backlot. My buddy's on top of the little tower in the middle of the 3-story.
Yeah, 3-story. Top 3-story.
And he goes, and as he's like jumping down, gets two-tapped from construction on the far, what was it, A-bomb. He gets two-tapped by this player from over there. I was like, how did they manage to perfectly hit you as you're jumping off this? And he wasn't a bad player. It was just this team was phenomenal with their gun skill. And we attempted it, we tried it, and we could do in some teams on some maps. But overall, we could never replicate that. Yeah, like that one team's particular playstyle, and so it showed how heavily gun skill can be utilized in a game like that.
For me, Call of Duty 4 was just such a good competitive Call of Duty for me. That is probably one of my favorite competitive Call of Duty games. I fell in love with Call of Duty 4. I love the competitive scene in it. I had so much fun playing it. Obviously, when you get joked, you just get incinerated, deleted off the screen. It makes you angry. But then you're like, it's COD 4. COD 4 has always been like that. So I love it. I love Call of Duty 4. I would love for them to replicate MW2, especially MW3. I have
Yes.
so many good memories on MW3. You have no idea. Quickscoping, being part of a sniping clan.
No,
I
I'm
had
sorry.
such good memories on it.
Two. I gotta say 2 is better than 3. I don't know what
It's
your
the
ranking
memories.
is.
I had better memories on MW3 than MW2. I think it just comes down to nostalgia. I played with so many friends for MW3. My MW3 would probably be your MW2, based on nostalgia, memories.
I
playing
think
with
it's
friends.
just that's where the age gap comes in. I think. Is
Yeah.
just which one did
Yeah.
you pick up and play at a certain age? Because that was my entire middle school career
Yeah.
was
Uh-huh.
COD 4 and MW2.
And playing
Like
with friends and
MW2, I remember.
just chilling.
I was this little kid, a part of this turtle clan where we had riot shields on our back and ninja diffused bombs all day long.
Oh, you guys ninja diffused. Okay.
And we carried around care packages and lunged into people.
Oh, I remember the care package glitch on
Yep.
What map is that? The care package.
Oh no,
glitch
it was on
where you
all
could-
of them, dude. It was the knifing glitch. If you ran I think it was Marathon Pro, where if you had that, you just had this absurd lunge
No,
you
Commando
could-
Pro. Commando
or
Pro.
Commando Pro.
But I
yeah,
mean, there was a glitch on a certain map where you could actually get out of the map if you kept stacking care packages. I forgot what map it was. It was the one where there is.
There were
I don't know how
so
to
many
ex-
maps
yeah, I
that
don't know how to
by
describe
the end
it.
of that there was 8 map packs. Dude.
It was basically a construction site. It was the first maps that they
Basically
dropped. It was a construction site.
You might be talking about MW3 unless you're talking about High Rise. But
No,
High
it was
Rise, you could get
MW2. They had not white cinder blocks, but they had white stones stacked, and then they had a metal building. You climb up a ladder.
Okay, yeah. I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name. That was one of those bonus maps, I believe.
It was a bonus map. I didn't even have a map pack. Yo, I'm about to look this up right now.
but nostalgia aside, I know you also wanted to talk about the pro teams announced this year
Yes,
and a whole bunch
please.
of other stuff.
Hit me with that.
So being time savvy, I just wanted to get us into those topics.
Go ahead,
So
my brother.
what do you think about the current pro teams that have been announced this year? Like the top 3 being 100 Thieves, Envy, and Optic.
Well, on paper, they are the top 3 teams just because of the fact of that they have had so much success on paper. People, Scump, Crib6, TJ Halley, Dashy, and Karma. Karma the GOAT. Are you kidding me? Karma, Scump, and Crim. The original 3 members of Optic since Advanced Warfare. People. It's a good team. TJ Halley and Dashy bring vibrancy to the team. Obviously, 2 young, talented, competitive Call of Duty players. Dashy, absolutely nasty. TJ Halley, one of the more upbringers, one of the more vibe. He ups your vibes. He's a young kid. He's funny. He's very vibrant. Dashy, very skilled. He's absolutely nasty. Came up in the scene. World War II, he made a name for himself. Dashy is absolutely disgusting. I think him and Scump will probably be... Scump, and Crim will probably be the main carriers for the team. Karma, obviously the GOAT. You can't go wrong with Karma. Karma literally is the clutch master. He has won so many teams for Optic Gaming just by clutching up. Absolutely one of the top teams. They have had so much recent success from online tournaments recently. They have won so many. They definitely seem to be a top contender for the championship. Envy, they took EG's roster with Apathy, Silly, Ace, and Assault, and they added Huke. Obviously, if you cannot remember or you don't know, Apathy, Silly, Ace, and Assault won. They won Call of Duty Champs. So obviously a championship roster. How can you break up a championship roster?
Well. That being said, with them being a championship roster, you said they were for
EG,
WW2, right?
Yeah, World War II. They came off World War II as Call of Duty champs.
So that being said, but that's a polar opposite kind of. Well, I wouldn't say polar opposite kind of game, but it is a very different game than the one that's now around this year, which is, part of the whole Call of Duty aspect is you have to adapt to every meta change by new game and by new month or whatever.
They are a different team, but they do still have that skill. They do still have that IQ. Even though
you think it
will carry over,
transfer in time.
It will most definitely transfer over. You cannot go from a championship team just because of a new Call of Duty. You cannot go from a championship team to a top 32 finish at a LAN.
Wait, hold on. What about? Don't mean to throw any shade on this, but didn't Scump kind of do that in World War II? Didn't he just kind of like fall short?
He was an absolute monster in the beginning, and towards the end when he started being fed up with the game, when he didn't love the game anymore, he started to fall off. He was an absolute monster in the beginning. Later on, he became poo-poo.
Because they were like a top 16 team or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Later on in World War II, they became shitty. In the beginning, they were monsters.
That's my thought process with it is like taking
as the
that
game
whole
developed, they became they became trash. Is what I'm. Yeah.
So as of right now, because from what I've seen, Scump and all of them have been doing quite well.
Yes, they have. They are very successful. They have been very successful.
Not to mention, Scump just broke like 20K subs on Twitch in like 2 weeks.
He's been blowing up recently.
Yeah, so he's about to pick up a G-Wagon, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Following in Nate's footsteps, probably.
But
Nate Shot himself does have a G-Wagon, or he used to. I'm pretty sure he sold it, actually.
But moving on from them, because we'll just have to, I guess, see what happens with the new Envy roster or XEG roster. But right now, I've got to say, like, Optic is probably number one.
Yeah, just because
I know they've beaten. I know I've seen them beat 100 Thieves already.
They haven't beaten 100 Thieves. Yes, they have. I
but
would say
100
Optic
Thieves
recent success. Optic 3,000%.
But 100 Thieves is also run by former Optic Pro Nade Shot.
Nade Shot, indeed, they have that background.
And so their current lineup, I know nothing about their current lineup. This because I didn't look into their lineup yet.
Mm-hmm. Kenny and Pharaoh, easily two of the best rookies to come out of Call of Duty World War II, with the pickup of Enable, a former teammate of Kenny and Pharaoh. Octane, also from Optic, I would say a top 3 AR coming out of World War II Slasher, another top 3 AR. They have two top 3 ARs. I feel like the stability of the team with two ARs that are top tier, I think there will be, a little shaky on who wants to do what, on who wants to slay, who wants to anchor, who wants to hold down a lane, who wants to play more aggressive. Obviously, it is an AR game. Black Ops 4 is dominated by ARs. Actually, it's very annoying. There's only one reliable sub, the SOG, and it's not even that reliable. The bullet reg on the thing is trash. Doesn't have a lot of range. It's only reliable up close. It's pretty much the Vesper post-patch, if you will. It is a melt machine, and it isn't. It is run by ARs. The Maddox and the Icyy are the two main guns. The Maddox is actually in most cases used as kind of a medium range sub. You play aggressive with it, it melts. It can delete you off the map. The stability of the team, I think the stability and success of the team will most definitely be in the hands of Octane and Slasher. If they can handle their egos and they can do what's good for the team, which I definitely think they will. They have trust in Nade Shot. Nade Shot, former pro, former X Games championship twice. The success that Nade Shot has had, I think they will listen to him. He's very smart, very knowledgeable. If they are able to push their egos aside, each and every one of these players, two of them being rookies, I think if they're able to push their egos aside and play for a win, play as a team, they are definitely viable to be a championship contender. But this roster heavily relies on Octane and Slasher just because of the fact that they are two of the top 3 ARs from World War II. And because they are two ARs, they have to be able to balance those roles. And Enable's also an AR as well, but he's pretty much basically a Karma, if you will. He's not necessarily a Karma, but he is a Karma in the way that they play. He pretty much does the dirty work and has the good vibes for the team.
See, personally, based on the way that you describe it, I feel like they could not have picked a. They couldn't have picked though. Again, it's going to be, it can be very harsh later on down the road. But I do feel like, again, with the game being so heavily balanced towards ARs right now,
they couldn't have picked up a better team.
Yeah, could not have picked a better
lineup.
Okay, we're not going for the long game. This isn't like we're going to strategize very well. We're just going to hammer whatever team we come across because we know how to play as ARs.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all just going, they'll have the couple of anchors and stuff like that, but overall, the heavy ARs are going to make or break the game.
Mm-hmm. Slasher, definitely a great talent. Coming out of World War II, dropped massive numbers for Red, I think. I'm not mistaken. It could be mistaken, could not. I can't remember what team Slasher was a part of, but he was an absolute monster, dropped massive numbers almost every single event. He's a very reliable Slayer. I think he will be the AR Slayer for the team. He is not necessarily an aggressive player, but he is very, very talented in gun skill. Octane, also very talented in gun skill. I think Octane will be more of the lone ranger, more of the anchor, playing long. And Slasher will be more of the run and gun. He will be playing very fast with the AR. Probably Enable and Octane will actually switch off of anchors, because Enable is more of the dirty work kind of guy, and I don't think Octane... honestly, I think Octane does have a little bit of an ego, so I think Octane and Slasher will be competing for who slays out more. But like I said, Octane, Slasher, two of the best ARs come out of World War II. Enable, the dirty work kind of guy. Kenny and Pharaoh, easily two of the best rookies to come out of the league. Kenny being the best sub player easily from World War II, and Pharaoh being a great all-around player.
So you overall, you think 100 Thieves is going to be the team to pay attention to?
They will be the team to pay attention to just because of the fact of the roster that they have.
They have
two rookies.
It'll be the most enjoyable
to
watch, if nothing else.
they definitely are a very entertaining team, very flashy team in Kenny, Octane, and Slasher. And Pharaoh. Can't leave out Pharaoh. Pharaoh's pretty good as well. But I think the top two teams that we're going to be looking at for entertainment-wise, Optic and 100 Thieves, but you can't go wrong with the fundamentals. Envy have Apathy and Silly, two great slayers. Aches, the mastermind. Assault, a great AR, and Huke is Huke. We all know Huke. Huke is a great Call of Duty player. They have a great roster. Huke is Huke. They have a great roster, great fundamentally sound roster. Pretty much a basic, 4v. If you were to take a 4v4 roster, that would be a balanced roster right there for Envy. Like I said, the two most entertaining teams will probably be 100 Thieves and Optic, just because of the buzz that they have and the players that they have.
So reaching back to the very first thing that we spoke about,
yes,
so with these insane roster lineups and such things going forward, what do you think about the rule set and how it should look this year?
I say this every year. Anything broken should be out of the game. Anything that is fair should stay in the game. Armor should take that out. The abilities, the specialist abilities, will play more of a tactic kind of feel to the game. Just like BO3, it'll probably be the same as BO3 actually with specialist abilities. Equipment, specialist equipment is nearly non-existent. Grapple hook, can't use it. Seeker drone, can't use it. The radar shit, the dart gun thing, can't use that. That's fucking banned. Pretty much.
Radar, it's been banned. It's always been banned. So
pretty much, almost every fucking thing from the specialist are GA'd. Pretty much pussy shit. Just because you don't want to get shocked by a shocker drone, you know, you're basically being a vagina. But you know, I can't knock you. Mutual respect. Gotta have respect for the GA, I guess. Whatever.
But with that being said, we also spoke about how that with the Pro Series and such things.
Yeah,
is
it
going
will
to,
throw off things. I think people will take it out if they don't respect a team. Yada yada. We went over that already. But
yeah, so
yeah, we went over that already. It will play tactic.
I feel
this is probably going to be You go.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go
ahead. During the beta, we ran through a tournament, and it was before, any rule set. So what they did, which we didn't know up until the point when we joined the tournament,
no
we already bought in
because
we were like,
and no special
trying to hurt.
Weapons.
There was zero anything.
Yep, you can only heal.
So much of our gameplay relied on because I was playing a lot of OBJ.
Yeah.
While at the same time just slaying out, and so. I would always play Ruin. A large majority of my play style was around that extra mobility.
He's a very fast player.
Yes, and so when they took that out, because what I would do is, for example, on Contraband, I would grapple across to the ship, straight off spawn, grapple across to the ship, take out whoever's right there in that hallway, and immediately have somebody, one of my teammates would be pushing up behind me, coming up that ladder. And they would cover and I would plant. And so it was soundproof, perfect. Okay, so with them doing that where it was literally no specialist, it hindered my play style heavily, which obviously upset me. But it also upset my teammates because it completely threw the balance off because we did not know going into this tournament.
That they took out the weapons.
It was still in beta, but we thought it was heavily unfair. Now, seeing some of the things that have happened, though, with, Ajax being able to just sit in a corner and be completely undestroyable.
Shield. I'm pretty sure that's GA'd as well. Pussy.
Yeah, because, I think that's one of those broken
those are,
things
the GA, that's
with
a good
the Pro
GA.
Series, them having that ability to auto-ban stuff, I feel like that should be an auto-ban. Certain things should just not be... you only have to keep 5 specialists available for pick.
Yeah.
So let take a poll of the top 5 and let the community decide, if nothing else. Every time you run the first week of it, just run it as a test trial run and just let everybody kind of be okay. Out of all of the people playing in this Pro Series that we've created, this is what they want, listen to the community kind of deal. Because overall, I think that will also make or break the competitive scene is if it's relying so heavily on gentlemen's agreements and not the game itself and the rule set itself being wrapped around that. I feel like overall competitive is still young for Call of Duty and has a lot of adapting to do.
Well, the thing here...
the Ajax meta and stuff like that will exist too heavily.
Rule sets, obviously, since it is a new Call of Duty, the rule set is young. There is a set rule set, but I don't know if it'll be necessarily changed or not. They don't usually change around the rules that much. But it being a 5v5 game, changing from 4v4 since I don't even know how long, the 5v5 will bring in new strats. It will bring in new setups. It will bring in a new point of view to competitive, I guess. So whoever the smartest players are going to be the most successful. That's usually how it is. Whoever creates a meta is usually the more successful team because they are smarter. I know that sounds wrong, but it's usually because they are smarter than others. Obviously, smoke shots and things like that. They think of these plans themselves. They think of these strats themselves. The smarter players usually come out on top, and that's where I go back to Envy, since they do have several veterans. They will be a successful team just because of the fact that they are so smart. Going back to the rule set and tactical play of 5v5, it'll be definitely more tactical, and the rule set will definitely play and cater to that tactician play. So those specialists will definitely come in handy, just like BO3. That equipment aspect, those that are not GA'd will definitely play a part in being tactical. And those that are GA'd, pussy shit. Anyways, like I said, it'll be hopefully a very tactical game. I hope it does. It'll definitely be the brawn versus the brains, I feel. It'll definitely be, I feel, IQ over gun skill, but sometimes that doesn't really work out in the favor. But I definitely foresee it being an IQ game rather than a gun skill game, just because of the fact.
So you think like whatever specialists are or are not available won't make, like, it's not gonna be like, okay, so Ajax is just unstoppable or whatever.
No,
you think it'll balance itself out over the course of once the metas develop fully.
I don't think
and blossom, so to speak.
With the GA and pro players respecting each other and the pro league not really being as toxic as it once was, I don't think anybody's really going to use Ajax. I don't think Ajax is even going to be remotely part of the meta just because of the fact that it is GA'd. But there will be those weird teams. There will be those weird teams that are going to use Ajax or whatever, or that they are going to use the Secret Journal, or they are going to use the Iron Bang, or they are going to use the Grapple. They are going to have that meta. Obviously, whoever's smarter is going to beat the other team too.
I'm sorry. If it were me in that position, I'm sorry.
You are
for the gentleman's agreement. I'm using the Grapple.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
see?
like that's
you
just
can't
facts.
really take that away from somebody, If they like using it, you can't really take it away from them. Obviously, if it's out of the rule set, they can't use it anyway. But
I'm the same guy who would sacrifice using a gun just to be able to move faster, get a bomb down quicker, depending on who I'm playing against in the map I'm on.
Honestly, I feel like a GA is kind of unfair. It restricts players, it restricts people. It's kind of like
it favors the top hierarchy. Again, it
does.
It keeps those.
It keeps people in check. It keeps people in check, and I don't like being restricted. I like being able to use what I can to my advantage.
They're making it. It's like, oh, okay, my playstyle doesn't fit this, so we're just gonna. How about we all agree to not use it?
Yeah.
So that way, our couple.
I don't think it's fair, and I don't like getting smacked by it. So I think we should just GA it and not use it. No, dude. If I'm good with it, I'm gonna use it. Fucking GA. I want to win this money.
Yeah, because right now, one other thing that was announced is, if I'm not mistaken on the prize pool amount, I don't know if it's for the whole CWL or not.
Big ones.
But 6 million.
6 million big ones.
6 million.
6 million big ones. The prize pools. Every prize pool is going to be raised. I promise you that. Every prize pool will be raised, obviously, because of the 5v5. There's a lot more money coming into Call of Duty because of the blackout and because of the viewership. There is going to be a lot of money to be made, people, in Call of Duty this year, just because of 5v5.
That's just in CWL. That's not including, your wagers,
GBs,
your tournaments,
stuff like that. Exactly.
Which are much bigger now than I think they've
ever been. There we go. Yeah, knock on wood. Woo, woo, woo. Yeah. This year is going to be crazy for competitive and crazy for people that want to make money on Call of Duty. People, this is your time. This is the year that you are able to make the money that you want to make. It's going to be not necessarily so easy, but it is going to be so favorable to high rollers, high money wagers, high money tournaments, people. You want to make that money? Play Call of Duty like
I've done some of the math, and it's like off of some of these CMG tournaments that have guaranteed prize pools, you only would have to win a few a week, and you're able to, like, depending on your age, stay at home. Like, you would not have to get a job just by playing online tournaments. Granted, you'd have to put a decent amount of money into it to make sure your team is solid.
It's pretty much
and everything
gambling
like that. But once your team is like winning every round of a tournament consistently, and you become one of those unstoppable teams, at least. Yeah, like you wouldn't have to even make it up to that pro scene. You could just Twitch stream, put on a minute and a half delay, whatever, and be making money off your stream while at the same time making a livable income off of just playing tournaments
all day. Yeah, see, there you go.
It's pretty insane.
It is with the money that they're pouring into Call of Duty. I love the fact that they're pouring this much money into Call of Duty because it will bring people back. It will bring new people to the community. It will bring old people back. Well, not necessarily old people.
And the reign of game battles is dead. I'm sorry. I'm so happy for that because they're. Like game battles is still a top player as far as freebie matches, but overall
CMG now.
CMG is where it's at. CMG, UMG, there's competitors to this that you can actually make good money off of, and I have not had issues with them.
I think they should add a wager aspect to game battles. I think that's where they're lacking, but I don't think they will ever change the format of game battles because it's always been that free to play website. Obviously,
I love what they do, but their technical support staff is just
their staff is trash. Their support is trash.
There's too many.
CMG has terrible support as well. Have you ever tried getting a support for a wager or something? They take forever. With that, I've never had issues like. Oh my god! How have you not? CMG has terrible support as well.
Every time we've had to because I used to do the Fortnite stuff.
It's
every
absurd.
time that we had to do anything, we just submitted some proof and we're like, went on our way, and eventually got our money back.
All this talk makes me want to play Call of Duty. Thanks a lot.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, so that being said, we'll wrap it up on our final topic with I don't know where we're at exactly on it, but how do you foresee Absolute Rain getting into CWL and all that? Because we will have to. We are picking up a new team soon.
Plug.
So with Absolute Rain picking up a new team, do you think that they will be competing in CWL this year, or going into 2019,
Yeesh.
or do you think that Absolute Rain's already missed the
window
deadline? Yeah,
I don't think. Honestly,
are they going to be an online only, or are they going to eventually hit some form of stage?
Well. No one wants to jump into a LAN right away just because of the simple fact that if you do perform really bad at a LAN, it does affect your stock, if you will. Teams will not want to pick you up just because of the simple fact that you placed really bad at your first LAN. I don't really know why teams are like that. No one expects to be the best their first LAN, you know? You can't really jump into anything without having practice. With that being said, practice makes perfect. Getting into CWL, jumping into such a high league, very high, top of the top. Honestly, I don't see anything happening until the next Call of Duty. You could play not necessarily only online tournaments, but lower leagues until you are confident in your roster to be able to make a dent, not necessarily a weld, but a dent into a name for Absolute Rain. You don't want to get dropped off before you even qualify for a league match.
So how do you think the team proceeding should
go about it? Should go about it.
Yeah, okay, how do they prepare to enter onto a CWL stage?
I think you should play in as many local LANs as possible. Playing in those lower LANs, get that LAN experience. Myself, I've never played in a LAN, so I can't really help you on that. But when it comes down to it, get as much LAN experience as you can, get as much tournament experience, get as much knowledge of the game as you can, play as many scrims as you can. You know, I can't really express that enough. Practice as much as possible. You have to be the best. You got to beat the best, and the only way you can beat the best is practice more than them. These people are practicing 8 to 12 hours a day. Fuck that, 12 to 20. All right, 4 hours of sleep, people. You know what I mean? It's serious stuff.
You can't have.
Forgot sleeping. Forgot sleeping. Stay up 2 days.
Call of Duty is your life.
Exactly. If you want this to be a living and you want to be successful in this, you're going to have to make sacrifices, and you're going to have to put a lot of time into the game. With that being said, you have to go to as many lands as possible. You got to play in as many tournaments as possible, get as many scrims as possible. All this practice will lead up to CWL, but you cannot jump into it. You cannot rush into it. You don't want to rush into it.
See, I'm a head first kind of person.
You don't want to, with Call of Duty, with something as sensitive as your career going into a LAN, you do not want to make a bad representation of yourself with the first game. You want to be prepared. You want to be ready. You can't just jump into a LAN naked. You know.
That's why I was given an arm to throw my controller at somebody. Like, you know.
Yeah, you can't.
No. All kidding aside,
You know, you can't just jump into a LAN, you know, with only 2 months practice. You know, 4 months will probably be good, but 2 months or a month, I don't think that's enough practice to go to CWL.
I'm not talking about like CWL like right now. I'm talking about like CWL come April and such things. Like, do you think if we were to pick up a team that's been playing, like right now, that they would be able to, you know, if they're a solid enough team, if they've been playing together long enough, be able to prepare? And because one thing that I've noticed about this, because esports is growing so much and it's so diverse and solely online for a lot of it, there's a lot of people, like, you're not going to be able to get that team to go to a smaller LAN. It's going to be like, okay, well, we can get you to
all
this.
in.
We can either go all in or not at all.
Yeah.
Like, do you think it would be wise to, if the team, you think if they're killing it in every online tournament, they don't lose wagers?
With this, I'd have to watch them myself. I'd have to basically be the godfather. I'd have to be the coach. I'd have to see what they're doing. I gotta be Godfather Vinny. I gotta see what's going on.
So you think they need to be like they have to be like A1 before they could even attempt it?
Most definitely. Just because of the height. This, honestly, the skill that CWL is at right now, highest. The players are so much more skilled now. It's unbelievable. You have to be at least a top tier team. You have to be known before you can even attempt to go into the CWL. Not necessarily you have to be known, but you have to be a very well put together team that has been practicing this game since drop. Now, with that said, you said that if they have been practicing for long enough, it comes down to, I guess, you know, picking up someone that's knowledgeable of the game, and I guess coaching your team, seeing if they're ready. This is a very hard question to answer.
Yeah.
In my point of view, if you're asking me and you're asking me, is my team ready? I'd have to watch several hours of film. I'd have to go over it with the guys, see what they think, and I'd have to see if they are ready. If they put enough time, if they put enough effort, and they have enough heart behind it, if they have enough drive and motivation, and if they do have that tough skin. Obviously, being in Call of Duty and being in such a rough community, you have to have that tough skin, and you have to be able to take constructive criticism. If they have all of these traits and if they have all these aspects, I think at least April, May, June, around there, maybe even qualify for champs. You know, play for qualifiers. I think.
So you think that there is a chance that
there's a very small chance, but there is a chance. There is a chance.
Well, I guess time will tell how
Absolute
Rain will do with Call of Duty this year.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I think they're, as a whole, the organization and everything is just we're going to try to
get the ball rolling,
figure it all out. Yeah, we got to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, Icyy, I think that's about it. We can call it a night with that.
Very eventful. I had fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I love talking. I love letting these beautiful people hear my voice. I had fun talking about Call of Duty. Love Call of Duty. Always have. Always will. I enjoyed it.
So next week we'll both be back on
Sunday. Hopefully,
for
people.
Now on, it'll be
Sundays or Mondays.
Hopefully.
Follow us on Twitter.
I'll set up all the socials, and that'll all be dropped in the next one.
Okay.
Once we get those solidified, because a little bit of stuff changing around last
Behind
minute.
behind the scenes, people.
But,
You can't be knowing all that. Come on now.
So that being said, next week we should be doing something along the lines of like Fortnite or Paladins or
Stay
maybe some
tuned,
YouTube
people.
or something.
Some interesting stuff.
Well, we'll see who we can pick up for it.
Indeed.
Maybe we'll even get Thieves on here.
Oh, Thieves, please. He's a very entertaining man. I want to know how he gets all these people, all these viewers, man. 200 plus. This kid's crazy.
Lots of plans going forward with this.
There are a lot of ideas. We are brainstorming pretty much every day. We talk about topics. We talk about what we're going to do with the podcast. We hope to have this as a weekend thing. Sundays, usually, that's when our that's when our schedules are match up to be free.
What I think I'll do is I'll take the week to master it, make sure it's all perfect, and it will drop on Saturdays, be recorded on Sundays.
Cute.
So that way we get that going to where people can listen to it throughout their weekend, take a nice time off and enjoy it.
And enjoy our.
But that's all behind the scenes. We'll worry about that later.
You guys can't know that
yet. Nah, they can know it all they want. But that being said, make sure to subscribe to the Absolute Rain YouTube channel and feel free to join our Discord because those two things are set up and ready to go. It's just Absolute Rain on YouTube, and the Discord is pinned on like everybody's Twitter.
Pretty much.
So if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at ProAccuracy, and Icyy, I'll let you plug your own handle.
Thank you. Appreciate it, buddy. I'm going to have a whole bunch to plug. Now, please follow me on Twitter at Icyy, 2 Y's on me. I repeat, Icyy, 2 Y's on me, no space. You can't even space. Don't know why I said it. You get the gist. My Twitch, Utilized, UTILIZED, no space, FOH in all caps. Thank you very much. That is my plug.
A whole bunch of them. He said Icyy with 2 Y's
on me. There you go,
no
people.
Spaces.
No spaces. That's my Twitter and my Twitch. I already said it. Thank you very much, people. Thank you for listening. We love you all. Thank you for the support.
And have a beautiful morning, evening, or whenever.
Exactly. Thank you for listening, people. Love you all.